Look at this shed. Junk to the ceiling, a broken mower, a busted window, spider webs in every corner. Now look at it here. Warm light in the glass, smoke off a little chimney, and my neighbor Edith standing in the doorway. Same 4 walls. Over 2 weekends and about $500, I'm turning the first picture into the second. And there's a $131,000 a year industry that would rather you never watched me do it. Edith is 84, a widow, sharp as a tack, and 3 weeks ago a nursing home offered to take her for $11,000 a month. Her daughter Sarah lives right here in this house, and she couldn't stomach it. Not the money, not the stranger's room, not any of it. So Sarah and I are doing the other thing. We're taking this junk shed in her backyard and turning it into a warm, safe little home for Edith. 30 feet from the back door for about $500 in materials. And here's the part that ought to make you a little angry. None of this is new. Families kept their old people out back like this for 10,000 years until somebody worked out how to charge a fortune to haul them away instead. You were never told you could do it yourself because nobody makes $1 when your mother lives in the backyard for $500. So I'm going to build the whole thing right now, start to finish, and show you every step, so you can do it for whoever you're trying to keep. 2 parts. Part 1, we make it warm. Floor, walls, and heat, so Edith makes it through January out here. Part 2, we make it safe. Grab bars, a ramp, a little bath, and a $20 way for Sarah to see her mom's all right from the kitchen sink. And stay to the end, because I'll show you the ugliest thing these people do. The way that home can end up with a legal claim on the very house your mother raised you in. That's not a scare story. That's the law, and I'll prove it. Warm it, then make it safe. That's the whole job. Keep them home. My name's Earl, 40 years a carpenter, and I built one of these once for my own mother. It bought us 7 more years at the same kitchen table. Now it's Edith's turn. Let's warm this shed up. First thing before I touch a wall, I'm on the floor. Everybody skips it and regrets it. Cold comes up through a bare shed floor faster than through anything, because under it is nothing but air and cold dirt. That's the cold that'd keep Edith from ever warming up out here. Floor comes first. Before I show you exactly how, do me one quick favor. If there's somebody in your life you'd rather keep close than hand to strangers for a fortune, tap that subscribe button. Because everything on this channel is the stuff nobody's selling you. That's the only time I'll ask. Now here's the how. I get under the shed and push rigid foam board up between the floor joists. If it's too low to crawl under, I lay the foam right on top of the old floor and screw a fresh sheet of plywood down over it. A 4x8 sheet of 1.5" rigid foam runs about $25, and I need 4 of them for a shed this size, about 10 by 12. That's $100 to kill the coldest floor in the county. I cut the pieces tight and hit every seam with a can of spray foam. Because a 1/2-inch gap is a straw, the cold sucks right through. Floor's sealed. Now the walls. These shed walls are just studs and a thin skin of siding, hollow. I'm filling those cavities with R13 fiberglass bats. A bundle covers about 40 square feet and runs around $40. I push it in gentle and full, corner to corner. I don't cram it down tight because insulation works by trapping air. And the second you smash it flat, it quits doing its job. Right here is where folks rush and leave a cold spot behind an outlet or up in a corner. And that cold spot is exactly where the mold starts. On an old person, so I fill all of it. Then I staple a sheet of plastic vapor barrier over the studs, so the warm, wet air inside can't creep into the walls and rot them. And I close it all in with cheap 1/4-inch beadboard, $40 or $50 of it, painted a warm color, because nobody wants to spend their evenings staring at gray. Now the heat, and this is the one thing I cannot let you get wrong. So I'm going to say it plain, and I'll say it again later. I'm putting in a sealed electric heater, an oil-filled radiator on wheels, or a wall panel with a thermostat, $50 to $80, 1,500 watts, which is the same pull as a hairdryer. What you never do, not for one night, is put an open flame heater in a small sealed room like this. No propane, no kerosene, no gas. A little unvented flame in a tight room makes carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide has no smell, and it kills old people in their sleep every winter. Sealed electric heat, never an open flame. And I'm screwing a $10 carbon monoxide alarm to the wall anyway, because I've been wrong before, and I'd rather the alarm be right. That's part 1. Edith's shed is warming up. While it comes up to temperature, let me tell you exactly what she's escaping. A private room in a nursing home right now runs about $11,000 a month. Turn it around and that's $131,000 a year. That's the median in the Genworth and Care Scout cost of care survey the whole industry quotes, and that meter never stops. It runs every month until the savings are gone. $250,000 in 2 years. A whole life's work, and then it comes for the house. I'll get to that, but here's what they really don't put on the brochure. A lot of these places aren't run by nurses anymore. They're owned by investment funds, people who buy the building from an office you'll never see, whose one job is to squeeze more out of Edith's last years. And we know what happens when they do. Researchers at the National Bureau of Economic Research went through Medicare records on more than 7 million patients. And they found that when a private equity fund buys a nursing home, the death rate of the people living there goes up about 10%. 10%. That's more than 20,000 people who died who otherwise wouldn't have, because after the buyout, the fund cut the nursing staff to save $1. So it costs a fortune, and it quietly makes people die sooner, and somebody 4 states away gets a little richer every month it runs. That's what Sarah was being asked to sign her mother up for. Now here's the part that ought to stop you cold. 77 out of every 100 adults over 50 told ARP the same thing. They want to stay in their own home as they age. Almost none of them get to. And most of those same folks already own their house, half of them free and clear, with a backyard sitting there empty. The thing they want most and the place to do it are already in the family's name. Nobody ever connected the two, because there's no money in it for anyone but you. And before you think I'm just cheap, let me show you the con. There's a whole industry selling the exact thing I'm building right now for free. They call it a granny pod. The best known one, the Med Cottage, runs $85,000 to $125,000 just for the box. The fancy prefab models start around $40,000 for a bare shell and climb past $90,000. And that's before the crane, the foundation, the trenching, the permits. Once it's actually sitting in the yard and hooked up, the number sails past $200,000. Same foam board, same little heater I just screwed to Edith's wall, wrapped in a glossy brochure with a stock photo of a smiling gray-haired lady and marked up $200,000. None of this is a secret, and that's the whole point. The Amish have a name for what I'm building, the dawdy haus. It's Pennsylvania German, and it means straight across Grandpa's house, a little one-story place built right next to the main farmhouse. When the parents get on in years, the young family takes the big house, and the old folks move into the small one, 30 feet away. Grandma helps with the little ones. Then the years turn, and the kids help Grandma, and nobody goes anywhere. The Amish still build them today, and they didn't invent it either. A back room, a cabin down the lane, the grandparents next door. That's how nearly every human being aged for thousands of years. The nursing home is the new thing here, not this shed. That whole industry only really exploded after the government money showed up in 1965, and inside 2 generations it talked us into believing that shipping our old folks to strangers for 6 figures a year is just how it's done. Nobody sat you down and made you forget the dawdy house. They just built something shinier and let you forget on your own. All right, Edith's shed is warm. Now part 2. We make it safe, and safe for an old body is a short, specific list. First, grab bars. Not towel bars, real grab bars, rated to hold 250 pounds, $20 each. The trick everybody botches, you screw them into the wall studs, not just the paneling or the first time Edith really leans on one. The whole thing tears out of the wall and takes her down with it. I put one by the bed so she can pull herself up, one by the toilet, and one anywhere she goes from sitting to standing. Find the stud, hit the stud, done. Second, the door and the ramp. Old legs don't do steps, and a walker doesn't do them at all. So I build a ramp, and there's one number that matters, 1 in 12. For every 1 inch the door sill sits up off the ground, you give it 12 inches of ramp. 1 inch of step, 1 foot of ramp. Edith's sill is about 6 inches up, so her ramp runs 6 feet long. Any steeper than that 1 in 12, and it's a slide, not a ramp. She can't push up it, and a wheelchair would run away down it. That's the federal standard, and it's the standard for a reason. I widen the doorway to at least 32 inches while I'm at it so a walker clears the frame. $20 of lumber and an afternoon. Third, the little bathroom, and this is where the $500 either holds or blows up. Full plumbing, a real drain and water line run out to a shed, is thousands of dollars, a licensed plumber, and a permit. Edith doesn't need it. A bedside commode is $40 and empties like a bucket. A camp sink with a jug and a basin handles washing up. And a real bath happens twice a week in Sarah's house, 30 feet away, which is the whole point. Edith's not out on the moon. She's in the backyard. If you can tie into a water line easy, do it. If you can't, don't let it stop the whole project. Warm and near beats plumbed and far every single time. Fourth, and this is the one that lets Sarah actually sleep, a $20 video monitor. The same little camera people buy for a baby's room. I set it on a shelf in the shed, and the screen sits on the kitchen counter in the big house. Now Sarah can glance over while she does the dishes and see that her mom's up, her mom's fine, her mom's watching her programs. It's not spying, it's peace of mind, and it's the whole difference between I'm worried about her out there and I can see she's all right. Fifth, and this one quietly matters most, I'm making the floor trip-proof. More older folks land in the hospital from a plane fall than almost anything else. A fall is the #1 cause of injury death for people over 65, and it usually happens on a rug or a raised threshold in their own home. So there are no throw rugs in Edith's place, none. No matter how pretty, a throw rug on a smooth floor is a banana peel with a fringe. Every doorway sits flush, no lip to catch a slipper. And I run a strip of stick-on motion night lights, about $15 a pack, low along the wall from the bed to the bathroom. So when she's up at 2 in the morning, the path lights itself and she never crosses a dark room. $15 of little lights beats a broken hip every day of the week. Sixth, a window. And don't skip it thinking it's a frill. An old body needs daylight. Real sun sets the sleep clock and keeps the blues off through a long winter. And a room with one dim bulb is where people fold up and quit. Edith's shed had one sad little window, so I cut a second one facing the house and the yard so she can sit in her chair and watch the grandkids play and the birds at a feeder. A used window out of a salvage yard is $30, $40. Cheapest medicine in the whole build. And that's where the $500 number comes from. You don't buy this stuff new. I got Edith's second window and her door at the Habitat for Humanity Restore for a fraction of retail. I bought a solid interior door there for $15. Facebook Marketplace and the free piles at the curb are full of folks giving away a good shed, a working mini fridge, a bed frame just to clear the space. Ask a contractor working down the street what he's hauling to the dump. Half of it is insulation cutoffs and lumber ends that finish a room like this for nothing. The salvage is out there. Most people just never think to look. Seventh, meals, and you keep this simple too. Edith takes most of her suppers in Sarah's kitchen, 30 feet away, which is half the point of having her close. But for a cup of tea, a bowl of oatmeal, her own coffee in the morning, I set her up with a little counter. A 2-burner hot plate for about $25 and a used mini fridge somebody was giving away on Marketplace. No gas line, no big stove she could leave on and forget. Just enough for an old woman to fix her own breakfast and keep her dignity. That's another $50 tops. Last thing before she moves in, I give Edith a way to call the house without hunting for a phone. A wireless doorbell, the plug-in kind, about $25. The button by her bed, the chime in Sarah's kitchen. She presses it, they hear it, somebody walks the 30 feet. That's the whole difference between feeling stranded out back and feeling one press from help. And here's the thing, every one of those price tags misses. It was never only about the money, it's that an old person parked among strangers just quits sooner. The researchers who pooled all the studies found that being cut off from your people raises your risk of dying early about as much as smoking does. Loneliness is its own illness, and no facility, however shiny, cures it. Put that same person 30 feet from the grandkids with somebody who loves them stopping in every day, and they hold on longer and better. That's not sentiment. That's the number. Now let me be straight with you because I won't sell a fantasy. This works for the widow like Edith, who's slowed down and needs it warm, safe, and close, but can still mostly run her own day. It is not a hospital, and it's not a memory ward. If your mother has real dementia and wanders, if she needs a nurse and a lift and round-the-clock hands, then a shed in the yard is the wrong answer, and I won't pretend otherwise. Get her the real care. That's love, too. And in most towns, this isn't a legally permitted second dwelling, so check your local rules before you run power and call it an address. A lot of families do it quiet as a home office grandma happens to stay in, and that's a talk between you and your county, not me. The insulation and the heat and the grab bars last 20 years. The arrangement lasts exactly as long as she's safe in it and not a day past. You got to be honest with yourself about that line. So here's Edith's shed now. Warm floor, warm walls, a sealed heater ticking away, grab bars in the studs, a ramp to a wide door, a little bath, a bright window, and a camera so Sarah can see her from the sink. 2 weekends, about $500. And last week, Sarah walked her mother across the yard at dusk to see it. the window glowing, the little chimney going, and Edith's youngest grandson took off running across the grass to be first to the door. He walks out there most mornings now so his Nana can fix his collar before school. You don't get that morning from a room a 40-minute drive away. And here's the ugliest thing these people do. The part I promised you, the part the brochure will never print. When the money runs out at a nursing home, and at $11,000 a month it runs out fast, most families end up on Medicaid to cover the bill, but Medicaid keeps a ledger. Federal law says that for anyone 55 and older, after they die, the state can come back and recover what it spent. And while they're in that home for good, it can put a lien right on their house. So the place that promised to take care of your mother can end up with a legal claim on the very home she raised you in. The house gets sold to pay for the room, while a fund 4 states away counts the money. Sarah dodged all of that. Her mother's house stays her mother's house, and Edith's 30 feet away, not down a stranger's hallway. That's what $500 and 2 weekends bought. Keep them home. There's no commercial for the shed you already own. No salesman knocks to tell you the answer's been in your backyard the whole time. That's exactly why it's news to you. Families kept their old people close for 10,000 years. We're the first ones who were ever talked out of it. So here's the whole build on one page. Clean out the shed you've already got. Insulate the floor first with rigid foam, about $100 because cold comes up. Fill the walls with R13 bats, $40 a bundle, and close them in. Heat it with a sealed electric heater, $50 to $80, 1,500 watts. And never, ever an open flame in that little room, plus a $10 carbon monoxide alarm. That's part 1, warm. Then part 2, safe, grab bars sunk into the studs at $20 each, a ramp at 1 foot of run for every inch of step, a $40 commode instead of thousands in plumbing, and a $20 camera so the family can see she's all right. 2 weekends, about $500 in real materials, keep them home. Do it this fall, before the first hard freeze, and somebody you love spends the winter warm in the backyard instead of a stranger's hallway. Then tell me 2 things down in the comments. 1, is there a shed, a garage, or a spare building already sitting on your family's land that could be somebody's home? And 2, what did they try to charge you or somebody you love to take an old person away? Put the number down there. I read every single one.